If you ever start playing with hand planes, one of the first planes you may encounter is some form of Stanley 110. This is not the best plane that is available, and I probably wouldn't recommend you actually buying this one. But if you can get it for $2, this is just a short tutorial of how you can actually adjust the blade. So basically this one has very few things. So it doesn't have lateral adjustment, doesn't have depth adjustment. The only thing you can do is to actually set up the blade and try to magically set it up. And it's not that complicated to actually set up. So basically we have a cap iron, we have iron, and the plane body. So there's basically nothing else. And the first step is simply to put this blade in, ideally on some flat surface if you can find one, and try to make it reasonably parallel, ideally not too protruding. So if you have a really parallel surface, you just, hopefully not metal, so you don't destroy the sharpening. But in any case, you just put the blade, put the cap iron, and try to tighten this up. There are different types of adjustments on different forms of Stanley 110, but all of them basically have this the only piece that's being adjusted. So that's basically it for the first step. And the next one, you just need to sight. So now I can see that I have a little bit protruding on this side, and what can you do? So you don't have lateral adjustment on real bench planes or even good block planes. What you can do, but it's not actually critical. And then long time ago, when in era of wooden planes, they also didn't have anything, they didn't have this adjustment, and everything worked out. And what you can do, you just need a hammer. You don't really need the big hammer, so I got this one from Harbor Freight. I think it's a watch hammer or something, but it's very light and you can just do very small adjustments. So what I can do, there are multiple ways of doing this business. I kind of prefer for now is just sighting and kind of seeing what the side is protruding more. I see this side, so I'm gonna just knock on this side, and I will just look. Now it looks like it's a parallel, but it's protruding quite a bit, so it's not, I need a little bit less protruding. And it's actually not that complicated to get it out. So there's actually a special place that you can strike your hammer. Move iron, it's move it back. I'm guessing it's moving, but it's not moving this much. But basically, the adjustment is this strike if you want to get the iron back, or actually striking on iron itself to put it to the front, to actually protruding a little bit more. And I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing wrong. So again, this side is doing a little bit more. Now it's on this side for some reason. This side. So this is basically the first adjustment, and the second one will be the actual test piece. So let me find some. So I just have some piece of pine. I'll put in the vise, and we'll just try to see what's gonna happen. So it's, as you can see, it's already working, but I'm sure. I'm just trying to put on this side, on that side, and I see that on this side I have a little bit more than I want. So just one tap, light, a bit too heavy. So now I've got the other side. Okay, so now both may be the same, so I'll try to strike times. Okay, now it's kind of finish. So again, this is a block plane. It's not really intended to be used kind of to plane stuff, but rather to make chamfers and do some other small jobs. So it can do a decent job. And it's actually not necessary to protrude that little. So as you can see, if I do the chamfer and my protrusion is extremely small and I'm making these tiny shavings, it can take me years. So I can just strike a little bit more on a plane and do it a little bit faster. So as you can see. So that's basically it for this plane. So I didn't do too much adjustments. So again, as to repeat, you have strike point here to move blade out, strike point on the blade itself to kind of make a deeper cut, or to do lateral adjustments to either this side or that side with a tiny hammer with a tiny blow. So that's basically it. There's nothing more to talk about this plane. This is very simple one, very cheap plane. Very common. You probably can find it anywhere if you go. I mean, if you're looking for antique hand tools or any old hand tools, you can find this on any flea market. The condition of it will be not great, but you can oil, you can kind of flatten the back a little bit, kind of remove all the rust, maybe repaint as I did. So I just want to have this small video showing something about the Stanley 110. I don't think there are too many videos, but again, this is not the greatest plane. If you can buy it for $2, probably don't. Just find something else. There are so many better planes available, block planes with a lot of adjustments. The mouth can be adjusted, lateral adjustment, depth adjustment, so you don't need to deal with the hammer. But if you want to play with the Stanley 110, okay, play with the Stanley 110.